Okay, boys and girls, today we're going to look and try to understand this idea of powers of 10 and how multiplying by tens and hundreds and thousands is a shift in place value. So remember when we were working with our place value discs and our base 10 blocks, we figured out, we knew that the ones, it took 10 of them to make a 10. So when we shifted over, we were multiplying times 10. And then when we did 10 tens, we figured out that made a 100. So our pattern continues. And it takes 10 hundreds to make 1,000. And 10 thousands to make 10,000. So we realized when we are shifting this direction on our place value chart, we are multiplying by 10. And the same is true when we're going the opposite direction. We are doing the opposite of multiplying. We are dividing by 10. So if we had 10,000 and we divided them by 10, we would end up with 1,000. If we divided 1,000 by 10, we would get 100. And we would divide that by 10 and get 10. And then we could divide that by 10 and get 1. So there's a shift happening when we are moving on our place value chart. So let's look at how this relates to multiplying by tens. Let's say we're going to do 32 times 10. Okay? All right, so let me erase this. And we're going to put 32 on our chart here. So in this case, we have 3 tens and 2 ones. Okay, so what we're doing when we're multiplying by 10, just like we talked here, we're shifting this over a place value. So let me use this with some little papers here to help us. Okay, so when we're multiplying by 10, we are shifting over a place value. And then we're going to place a 0 in the empty space to hold that place. So when we multiply 32 times 10, we're going to get 320. Okay? So let's try another one. Let's say we have 32 times 100. Okay, so if we have 32 and we are going to multiply times 100, so we're going to shift over 2 place values because we're going to go times 10 times 100. And now we will put that in that place. So 32 times 100 would be 3,200. Now this is extremely helpful when we move into decimals to help us understand this shift. So let's look using this. Okay. Now I call this a place value flag, and this just helps us. Let's try doing 85 times 10. Okay, so remember when we are making a shift, we are moving over one place value. So now we have 850. So 85 times 10 would be 850. All right, so let's look using a decimal. Okay. This is a decimal place value flag. So we have the decimal here. Okay, so let's say if we do 8 and 5 tenths. So we're going to do 8 and 5 tenths times 10. Okay, so when we are multiplying by 10, remember we are shifting over a place value. So this one would move here, this would move here. So now we have 85. Okay, so 8 and 5 tenths times 10 would be 85. All right, now, when we are dividing by 10, okay, the same thing is happening, except we are shifting the opposite direction. All right, let's try 324 divided by 10. Okay, let me build this number here. I think I've got, okay, so we've got 324. Now we're going to divide this by 10. So remember, like we looked at before, when we're dividing, we're shifting this direction. So we're going to move over everything one place value, okay? And then that would give us 32 and 4 tenths. All right, so another way we could do that without having to move it using our place value flag, we can move this. So if we're dividing by 10, let's start back at 324. If we're dividing by 10, now we are shifting those over, and we would have 32 and 4/10. Okay? So when we're dividing by 100, let's change this to 100 and start back over. If we're at 324 and we're dividing by 100, we're shifting over 2 place values. So divided by 10, divided by 100. We would move those over one more. So now we would have 3 and 24 hundredths. Okay, this would be hundredths. So that would be written as 3 and 24 hundredths. Okay? All right, so we'll continue to work on this, but I wanted to show you a quick little video to help you understand that shift of what's happening in our place value.